Hello, everyone.
We're back, Justin and Rob, for another Horological Happy Hour. Sorry for the 3-minute delay. 1 week off, and
1 week off.
You already forget.
Why were we off, Justin? Where were you?
So last Thursday, we launched this lovely coffee table book with major publishing house ASSOULINE, the Connoisseur's Guide to Fine Timepieces. It's honestly like 18 plus months of tons of hard work from the entire team, you know, from photography to copy to editing, like just tons and tons of work, but we're super proud of how it came out. So if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely go on our website, take a look. We'd love for you guys to get a copy for yourselves to have in your home. It's like 300 plus pages of some of the most ridiculous pieces we've ever had over the past 30 years. The whole project actually started as we were going to just create our own book for our 30th anniversary, which was last year, and we were going to maybe, use it as, listed for sale on our site, give it to good customers, that kind of thing.
Some folks saying problem with the sound. Little static in the background.
Okay. Let us know. We'll see if we can fix it. Let us know if anybody else notices any improvement or whatnot.
Checking connection.
But
keep us posted.
Yeah,
folks.
please.
Thank you.
But anyway, so we were thinking about doing this kind of as more just like an internal thing.
Right.
We ended up getting hooked up with ASSOULINE in New York. They were super excited about the project, and it kind of just took off from there. So really, really excited about it. Like I said, like some of the best pieces we've ever had are in the book.
Is it?
What's the matter? Sound is awful. Interesting.
So we're struggling. Maybe we do need that shotgun for this one.
Sorry,
so give
guys.
us 1 second. Let's do a little finagling because we can put the labs into one and grab the shotgun. Maybe Adam can.
Adam, are you grabbing that shotgun mic? Okay.
I think it's
Sorry.
over there somewhere. Yeah. We'll fix that in a moment, folks.
Sorry, everybody.
A lot of background noise. Okay.
Voices are fine. It is just the background. Interesting. Really? You heard it? You listened? Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Where that's coming from? The AC is on because it is hot in Boston this week. Folks.
Yeah.
We are in the upper 80s and it's already humid. So we'll get that straightened out and taken care of. But we are very excited about that book. The quality of it is really beautiful.
Try that. Yes. Go ahead and try that, David. David, what feed would that be to right now?
That's our YouTube box.
All right, YouTube.
No, it sounds better.
You already can tell it sounds better? Okay. So
all right, so get that plugged into that Instagram one there.
Sorry about
Hand
that.
me the mic.
People, we tried to upgrade our audio situation, and clearly it did not work. So we're gonna retrofit a little bit of a boom mic, shotgun mic situation, get this rocking, and we'll power forward.
I don't think Instagram can hear us right now.
No, they can't, but it's okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
Instagram.
Tell us if we're back.
Let us know if you can hear us again. Sorry.
I wish I could lip read. I know, we're working on it. So we are still working in a temporary studio situation here at the store. We are currently under construction working on a new space that will be dedicated for this kind of thing. We will have yes, please. Thank you, good sir.
You are welcome.
We will have much better. Huzzah.
All right, great.
Good work, tech team. Thank you, production team. We are going to have a dedicated space. We are going to then start kitting things out with all of the proper gear and things like that. Because as it stands right now, we have to tear this down and set it up every time. And that
it's a whole production.
has been, it's a bit of a chore, but we are working on that and it is going to improve. So we appreciate you all being here. We did want to lead off with the book, but now I think we should start talking about some of the stuff we got in this week. Because
we decided to go old school this week a little bit because we have some of the most ridiculous inventory we've had in a long time. I don't know if you guys have been following along on our website, but over the past, 2 weeks probably, we've gotten just a completely ridiculous, like one monster watch after another has come through our doors.
Things we've never seen before, things that are brand new,
Yeah.
some stuff that's older, but, never seen. I didn't even know this guy existed until we got it. I had no idea they made that. We don't see a lot of Grubel, so that's exciting. This was new last year.
Yep.
And first time seeing that. These we haven't seen for a few years.
Haven't seen for a little while now.
Right? Been a couple years since we
So
saw
why don't we jump into it instead of you know, showing the top, the overhead shot. We asked you guys, you know, if there were things you wanted to see, let us know. If, you know, you're on here right now, go on our website. If there's like specific interesting new releases that you want us to pull out, let us know. We'll send somebody to go grab them. But we're gonna roll through some of the crazy stuff that we have on the desk right now. Why don't we go right to this guy? I mean,
right to the.
Why not? So this one actually is in the book, which is super cool, super exciting. This is a piece that we didn't even honestly know existed. It's a 5167/300G. So it's a Patek Aquanaut, white gold case. But then, David, if you want to flip over to that close-up cam.
There's not much white gold here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because the case is almost completely baguettes.
Yes.
And we're not talking, sorry, I keep cutting you
No,
off,
no, no, you're good.
We're not
go ahead.
talking like little round diamonds here. We're talking about big, beefy, square baguettes on the lugs, on the bezel, on the crown guards.
Just a bananas piece. This was never officially in Patek's catalog. It was never regular production. You know, so it was basically application. You know, you had to be someone, you had to know someone to get this piece. So this one, beyond being, you know, shown on the wrist like this, that strap has never been together. That's a fresh, you know, from the factory Patek strap. That's the way it came. It's just a crazy piece, and it's like a perfect example of why we love doing what we do, because, you know, as a company, EWC, we sell a lot of Patek. We consider ourselves to be like pretty knowledgeable when it comes to Patek Philippe, and none of us knew that this watch existed.
No.
Like this, you know, this came up. We, you know, immediately made some phone calls and did some research, and it was like we were blown away by this. So this is an incredible, incredible piece. The setting of the diamonds is so wild. I think the other side is like the perfect shot. Just looking at, it's on both the top and side facet of those lugs, and then if we can get it, yeah, it might be tough.
It's yelling at me.
Yeah, I know, the diamonds don't make it easy either. But just like monster watch. We were like, you know, this would have made our month, and like we have a whole table of watches that you know, essentially you know, are of that caliber right now.
And then similarly, since we're talking Patek and we're talking diamonds, we might as well go to the Luce. This was a new release. I believe it was last year,
It's either last year or the year before. I honestly don't remember
they
when
offered
this one came out.
An Aquanaut chrono in a slightly smaller scale.
Yep.
Because this is not the same size as the 5968.
Technically, this is, Patek classifies this as a ladies' piece, which is like crazy. I mean, whatever. I don't care. You know. You know.
Can I get this on? This strap was cut. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. There we go. This strap was cut. It's a lot of times dealers require you to do that, and boutiques they won't let you leave unless they size the watch / cut the strap. So we do see that a lot, even on pieces that are unworn. But yeah, I mean, my wrist is just over 7 inches, and I could wear this. I'd wear this.
For sure. Are you kidding me? I would wear that.
I think I would change the white.
I would too.
I wouldn't wear the white strap with it. It works, but it's just not for me. But I would wear this watch.
Me too. Are you kidding me? Someone just asked what we have the 5167-300 listed for. That's listed right now for $299. Honestly, have no idea what, you know, original cost was on that bad boy.
Yeah, you'd have to find somebody who had an old dealer price list or something.
Right.
Oh yeah,
on this one, the
there
Luce,
are some.
yeah.
There's a couple. I don't think I can actually close it because it'd be too small for me. But there are some diamonds inlaid to each side of the buckle there as well, lest you be disappointed in the lack of bling when your hand is not right side up. What I think is cool about this is, unlike a lot of rainbows where they just do the gradient sapphires, they have a row of gradient sapphires and they have a row of baguette cut diamonds. So you get double on that bezel. You get all the bling, you get the matching gradients on the hour markers.
Then you get, is that dial mop, or is it just like an
and
opaline?
You get mother of pearl.
Wild.
It has everything.
So I mean, mop dial with the full like classic Aquanaut, decoration. You know what I mean? So there's different levels there. You know, that sub dial is slightly recessed. Like I'm always impressed by.
And the logo's like applied.
Yeah.
The logo, even the Patek Philippe Genève is like applied gold letters.
When,
it looks like
when brands work with mother of pearl and it's not just a sheet of mother of pearl that the indices are painted on, like that blows my mind. You know, it's just such a difficult material to work with. It's brittle. You know, to get that kind of detail is so impressive.
And to engrave it. And I know people do guilloche and things like that on mother of pearl, but like that's killer.
What is the do you know off the top of your head what the size of that one is? Aquanauts are always
I
hard.
thought it was a 37.
I thought it was 37 or 38.
But let me look.
Yeah, we'll look it up and we'll get back to you. I mean, honestly, so Rob, your wrist is what, 7 and a quarter? So Rob is a 7 1/4 wrist. I have about a 6.5 inch wrist, and like that
would work for you.
It totally works for me.
A lot of the Patek stuff, I actually saw when they did the 7234, which is the mid-size Pilot.
Yeah, I mean,
that was originally.
That honestly, like that looks like a normal size.
It almost like from here, looking at the monitor, it kind of looks like an RM.
A little bit, yeah.
Like it has that, like with the white strap.
With the white strap, for sure.
That look.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for Miami for sure.
Yeah, that totally works.
Oh,
man.
Absolutely, I love it.
You should do that.
Yeah.
Your wife won't mind.
She won't care. Yeah.
No, she'd never know.
I don't need to renovate my place. It's all good.
So the 7234, when that initially came out, that was listed as a ladies' watch. But then when, like a couple years later, as a lot of guys were buying that watch, it suddenly became mid-size on the website.
Right.
And they now list it as the mid-size Pilot.
Right.
Which I think it's both the fact that men did buy that watch, and I think it's also the fact that a lot of watch brands are kind of getting away from the whole like ladies pieces, and they're making mid-size versions of the watches that can go either way. Like for guys who like old school, smaller sizes, and for ladies who don't want, not every lady wants this, right? You can't just take a reference, blitz it out with all kinds of bling and say now it's a ladies watch.
I mean, look, it's kind of funny actually, like you said, looking back to even just a few years ago when something that is 37, 38 millimeters, a brand was saying, this is a watch made for ladies. It's like, are you kidding me? Like 37, 38 is pretty ideal, There are plenty of women who wear, we've plenty of clients, lady clients who wear 40 mil Daytonas and whatnot. Like they look great. Yeah. And then like there's plenty of people like me that wears smaller watches,
An oversized watch on a lady, like, and when they wear it kind of too loose. Yeah. Like when they're wearing like a Daytona
like a bangle
or
almost,
Who was it who was wearing like a deep sea? Was that Cameron Diaz?
I don't know.
Who was wearing, she was like sitting courtside, excuse me, at a basketball game, and she had like a deep sea on, kind of loose. And it looked like such a boss move.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
That's awesome.
So the 7968 is, wow, there's an awful lot of diamonds and stuff on this guy.
Dimensions, please.
39.9.
Wow.
39.9, and they're calling that a ladies' watch.
Yeah, that's weird.
There you go.
That's very strange.
Actually, do they call it ladies? No, they just say Aquanaut Luce Rainbow Chronograph.
Interesting.
Oh, no. First self-winding ladies chronograph.
Yeah,
they do call it ladies in the copy, not in the title.
No. That's
very
weird,
interesting. That's a whole show unto itself, I think, talking about the way that market is shifting and how those lines are becoming very blurred. Because there's also that annual calendar. The blue with the...
What is that? I don't remember the reference.
49 something.
4947?
4947. The 4947, it's a blue annual calendar, stainless steel on a bracelet.
It's rose gold.
No, the stainless one.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, it's marketed as a ladies' watch. We have lots of guys we've sold it to. Yep. So anyway, don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot wear. All right, where do you want to go next?
So someone else asked to see this 5513. So Rob, if you want to show this guy
Real men don't wear that watch,
says
Daniel Gross 73. You and I got a problem.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because I'll take all the diamonds
I will
and
too.
all the sapphires
Absolutely.
and all the rubies.
I'm also, whatever, I'm not going to. I won't make any disparaging comments.
Weiss Goldring has entered the chat.
Weiss Goldring in the chat as usual. Good to see you, Ted. All right, 5513. This is This one is absolutely beautiful. We've seen a lot of really gorgeous vintage pieces, specifically vintage Rolex, you know, over the years. And it's a little bit of a tragedy right now. I think we've talked about it previously that just the way the market is right now, vintage just isn't getting the attention that it deserves and that it was getting, you know, several years ago. Vintage, if you're looking for a deal right now, vintage is where it's at. What do we got?
I wouldn't even say a deal. I would say value. I like that now toxic masculinity
has joined the chat. That's hilarious. That was going to be my... thank you for making that comment for me because that was what I was going to say. Sorry, somebody keeps on asking to see the Aquanaut with the diamonds again. So 5167 300. Here you go. Original STG. There you go. We're going to show it off one more time.
We're back to it.
And then we're going to move on from it.
It's still good.
There you go, man.
I would wear this watch.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I would gladly wear that watch.
I would wear it everywhere.
This one doesn't have any diamonds on the clasp. This just has a plain clasp.
Some kind of plebe?
Unfortunately.
Jeez.
But this, I mean, to me, I love the fact that it's the standard dial.
Agreed.
It's the regular dial. There's no fuss, no muss there. It's the regular movement. But the case is just, it's incredible. Well, and if you looked at this in person, and you looped this, and you looked at the quality of the diamonds and the setting, it's like...
It's not. Well, the funny thing is, like, we've talked about it a bunch of times, because it's not, like, if it was just the bezel, that would actually stand out more. But because the entire case is gem set with you know, those incredible baguettes, like, that is a monster piece. Yes, $299K on that one. That is a absolutely incredible piece.
Other side of the spectrum now.
Complete other side of the spectrum. Moving back to vintage Rolex. So like we were saying, vintage is, I'm sorry, Rob, it's a deal right now. You can get a very high quality, interesting vintage piece for a fraction, like pennies on the dollar to what you were paying 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yes, and we're seeing that in the auction world as well. We're seeing a lot of like the real collector investment quality vintage pieces selling at auction for prices that are heartbreaking compared to where they used to be. So 5513 classic no date sub. I apologize for reflections, but domed crystals like this,
they're impossible,
are really difficult when you're in the lighting. This has a domed acrylic crystal because nobody was using sapphire back then. This will be rated only to 200 meters. And this is a glossy dial. So you hear a lot of people talk about like gilt glossy, and that's exactly what this is. So we've got a glossy finish on it, and you've got the gold text at the top and the bottom where the logo is, which is where the gilt reference comes from. So we've got gilt glossy. This one doesn't have a chapter ring, which would be the when you have like a ring,
continuous loop,
containing the minute markers on the inside there.
But to be honest, like, who cares? I mean, yes, I agree.
We're just talking about vintage
you're right,
terminology for the people who...
So, I mean, this dial is, like Rob said...
Oh, it's perfect.
Gorgeous, glossy dial, and it's so crisp. It's so nice. The loom is beautiful on this. It's all original.
Yeah.
The hands matching the dial, perfect.
It's like nice, puffy old tritium.
Exactly.
It looks a little green in the monitor, but hopefully you guys can see. And in our website photos, you can see the real condition of this. I mean,
it's perfect.
It's
absolutely perfect. And, you know, case in point, you know, we're listing this right now for $28,500. And again, like several years ago, this would have been a $40K watch.
I'm guessing this is like 65, 66?
64. It's 64.
64.
Yep. You get that, you know, rivet bracelet, you know, it's like jangly and feels like, you know, that clasp feels like a tuna can on your wrist.
Rivets are these guys on the side. It's what Tudor does now, but they do it in a big modern thing. These, you can see on the inside here, these are just folded pieces of steel, because steel is really difficult to work with. So back then, they couldn't mill links like they do today. So you just had a piece of steel, they put a rivet in there, or they folded it over, and then they just riveted these end caps into it there. And that was it. And so that's why these bracelets didn't often survive, because it was the best for the time, but it's definitely, compared to the modern stuff, it's not that kind of durability. But I mean, the vibe that you can get here for, what was it, upper 20s?
28.5. Again, like you're saying, like you get so much watch and so much vibe and so much just like.
And you see how glossy that is when the light hits it.
You can see it.
Like
there you
that.
go. There
it's
you go.
Like,
perfect.
Oh, it's my best.
And oftentimes, you know, so vintage Rolex and vintage Rolex collecting is a total rabbit hole where you can literally like you can spend the rest of your life trying
The
to
minutia will drive
get into
you
the
crazy.
minutia. And you know, there are some guys that love, you know, spider dials, and some guys like all these little specific things that people look for. And this is definitely like probably the best example of just a straight up, you know, gilt glossy dial that I've seen. You know, early 60s gilt glossy dial in a long time.
It's really beautiful.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. So whoever asked to see that, good ask. Really like that. Great piece. It's beautiful.
Me, when I think about deals or value, one of the things that I think about is that accessibility notion.
Sure.
Right? Like, how accessible is this watch? Can you get it at retail if it's a current production thing? Or, you know, like, how many are out there? And those kind of things always go into my mind. And when you talk about something like this, that's from 1964.
Yeah, it's 60 years old now.
That is 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And it has survived with this ancient bracelet on it. It has survived with a very unstable substance on the dial. Tritium is not stable. It often flaked. It fell apart. It got dusty. It discolored. It, all that stuff. You know, everything about this watch. And it's a watch that was built to be used and to be a tool watch and things. And, you know, somebody probably didn't wear this one this way because the case is really good. The bezel's sharp. Like, everything about it is nice. But to see something like this that's that old, that has survived in this condition, that is remarkable.
Yeah, agreed.
And that, to me, is part of what makes this whole table possible. Because if these things didn't have that kind of staying power, if they were disposable,
they didn't last.
Nobody would care.
No.
And there's so few things that exist in our current world that have that kind of ability, that have heirloom quality. And so that gets me a lot more excited than a lot of other things you would buy on the current market for $28K.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I honestly, thinking about what is out there for $28,000, you know, and when it comes to watches and especially like this table, I don't know if I can find a more compelling.
And there's a lot of great watches for $28K.
There are. I'm not saying that is a hefty, you know, chunk of change.
But it's like, you know, you could buy a modern Calatrava and be extremely happy.
So you get like a 6119 or something.
Exactly, and you'd be chuffed. But you're not going to get the soul that you get when you buy something like that.
I mean,
that's my vintage.
That's the beauty of vintage. Like that's why we love to see it, especially pieces like that are so well preserved that, you know, clearly somebody loved it or just didn't wear it. Well, whatever. We'll take either.
Needs a rivet. It
we'll
has
take
a
either
rivet.
one. I think he means Mark meant he needs a rivet.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Oh yeah, you do. Can confirm.
All right, let's move on to this, which I thought we may have talked about, but we may have just mentioned it in passing.
I don't think we showed it.
Did we not show it?
We have not shown it. I definitely have not shown it.
So this piece came in, and Rob and I both like lost our minds. This, I don't know. Show this off, Rob. So this is the Code 1159 Starwheel. This is, you know, the second coming of the AP Starwheel. You know, classic 80s design. You know, obviously it's technology dating back to I think like the 16th century with the Starwheel complication.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. It was,
I had no idea.
There's a super interesting backstory involving the Vatican there.
Wow.
I know.
Are we like Da Vinci coding this watch
Pretty much,
now?
Robert. Pretty much. Yeah. We're gonna do some cryptography
it was
next.
The Illuminati.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Come, please. So we've talked many times about the Code 1159 line and how we both really, really love it. And it's obviously when it was introduced, people hated it. AP did a bad job with the rollout. They didn't drop the best version of that watch. They pivoted so quickly, and over the past, whatever it's been, 2-3 years now, they have just dropped like, you know, improvement after improvement after improvement to this line. And, you know, from the perpetuals, the tourbillon, the guilloche dials, the chronograph.
We just took in another one of the aventurine dial perpetuals, and I was looking at it this morning in the store, and I was like, it's a stunner.
It's incredible.
It's an absolute stunner.
And
so
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, we have a white gold case with a ceramic mid case. We have an aventurine dial, but it's underneath, and I don't know if you guys are seeing it, because again, we've got this like double, quadruple, crazy geometry domed crystal here, and so we're getting a lot of reflections, but underneath of this like satellite Starwheel mechanism is a blue aventurine dial, and it's very subtle in indoor lighting and certain circumstances.
Well, it's just that ring. It's just that outer ring there.
When it hits right, it's so gorgeous. Like, Oh my goodness.
And
But it's underneath too, because you can see it like under
is it
here.
under the wheels?
Yeah, you can see it like in the gaps here
So
and here
you know,
and here.
if you're not familiar with the original, you know, the one from the '80s, go ahead and look that up. You know, the AP Starwheel. I think we actually we just got one. Is that what you were saying? I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention.
I didn't mention that yet, but we did get an old one in.
We did just get an '80s one in, and so that one, you know, smaller gold case, you know, round kind of, you know, classic case with. They're like an acrylic, instead of, you know, these wheels that you see, you know, the black wheels that are rotating currently. You know, the original design used like a clear acrylic disc essentially that you know did the whatever, performed the rotational whatever timekeeping. The way that AP adapted that design and kind of moved it forward and paired it with the Code 1159, like. This is like a perfect design. This might be one of my favorite APs, period, right now.
So I was about to say, take us back to the front, because hot take.
Yeah.
I would take this.
Yeah.
Over any Royal Oak, right now.
Any Royal Oak that's on sale right now, like a modern Royal Oak, like not the one that's on my wrist right now. Any Royal Oak.
I actually. Like, barring an original 5402 or something like that, just because I couldn't say no to that, I would take this Code 1159 Starwheel over any Royal Oak. Because
you know what? Honestly,
to me,
I don't blame you.
Wow, I was bracing for the heat.
No.
This is so interesting, and it has so much character, and it is like, it's everything that AP does really well.
Yes.
But in a very different form factor for them. But like all of the things that they do, the case finishing, the like approaching from a different perspective, right? AP has never done stuff in a conventional way.
No.
Even when you think about the concept pieces, when you think about the Marvel watches, whether you hate them or not, who else is doing that at a level that AP is doing it, right? They really commit to this stuff.
Well, they're also pairing incredible horological design and engineering with the crazy marketing, the crazy like funky.
And
like
this is like a great
stuff.
kind of halfway point where there's enough crazy, but there's enough kind of tradition and elegance, and it still fits well and it's wearable. And the price, to me, it is very expensive.
What are we at?
I think we're at $89. The price is expensive, but I think it's worth it. I think it's totally worth it. Retail was $60, I believe.
I mean, I honestly can't believe that we're agreeing on this right now, but like, and this is a guy that is, you know, sitting here wearing.
That one is so good.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, my
old school,
my vintage 4100.
See, Dr. Lemon.
It's Mark Lehman.
Lehman.
Yes.
MD. So I'm guessing Dr.
Dr.
Lehman.
Lehman. There you go.
I agree. Favorite AP.
So we have this entered right now.
Very hot take. I know, but I stand by it. I stand by it.
Oh, thank you, Brendan Cunningham. Appreciate the congratulations on the book, man. We're super proud of it. Hopefully you have a copy. So we're listing this for $82,900. I don't know what the MSRP is off the top of my head, but
it's 60 something.
Yeah. But I honestly think I agree with you for this. You know, this is as much as I love my mid-size Royal Oak that I wear all the time. It's just like super easy. Don't have to think about it. There's something so incredibly special about this.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you're pairing this super esoteric, weird complication that no one else uses really, you know, beyond kind of work in their own, you know, their own way, similar but different. But so you have this crazy esoteric complication. You have this super weird, funky case design, this bonkers crystal. Like, it's a special piece.
And I love the fact that they didn't overdo it. They didn't put a tourbillon in it. They didn't put a chiming watch in it. Like, they made it accessible.
Yeah.
Within the realm of what it is. Like, if you bought that for $90,000, you would feel like, yeah, this is a $90K watch.
Sure.
In my opinion, it is super cool. I think it's a $100K watch, but the market's not there.
Original STG. The watch that you're asking for, we don't have that. That's not in stock. I'm really sorry. I just looked at the DM. Sorry, man. That's not available.
Which one was that?
It's an old Aquanaut, a mid-size Aquanaut with diamonds on the bezel. We don't have that in stock.
No.
Yeah. Sorry. I think you're looking at an old listing. Apologies. What happens if they release a Royal Oak Starwheel? I doubt AP will ever do that.
It would be so big, though.
That would have to be like a concept situation, I think.
Like the dial of this case allows you, because there's no bezel, well, you know, there's half a hair of bezel there. Because there's no bezel on this case, it allows you to have a really big space for the dial, and they fill it completely with the mechanism.
Yeah.
And a Royal Oak with a dial that big is going to be like 50 millimeters.
Massive.
So I don't know. Maybe it's doable.
If they figured out a way to do it, I mean, I'm game. Could you
I
imagine?
always reserve the right to change my mind. That would be a very cool thing.
That'd be cool.
2 other old comments I wanted to go back to. Coach JCTX, how often do you see the steel Aqualung Grand Date? We don't see that often.
No.
They only made 2,005 pieces in 2005. And that doesn't come around that long. And I genuinely think it's because most people who own that watch keep that watch.
Yeah.
Blancpain is a beautiful manufacturer who made some truly fabulous watches. And I think kind of that early 2000s.
I was just going to say, that was a really good era for Blancpain. Like that, like late 90s, maybe like 97, 98, through the early 2000s. They were kind of, that was, I personally think that's probably peak Blancpain. They were in this like really funky groove where they were doing what they did, and it was so honed, and they had like figured it out.
Yeah, it was
called
the Le Mans.
Yeah, exactly.
It was called the Le Mans.
Right.
The Blancpain Le Mans series from that time period, whether it's the Tourbillon, the Chronograph, the Aqualung, even just the plain 2100 time only, they're all. They did splits, they did flybacks, they did perpetuals.
They were working in different materials. They had gold versions, steel versions, titanium versions. Like they were early on the titanium train, actually.
Beautiful stuff. The buckles are terrible, but if you can get past the buckle,
the straps and buckles are not great.
That deploy was no good.
Yeah.
The
if you could figure out a workaround,
it's easy. You put it on a regular strap with a tang. But the other than that. Perfect watches.
Did you have another comment that you wanted
and then
to get
somebody
to?
asked, any 16-520s? We do, actually.
Yeah, we do.
Adam, do you want to go find us a Zenith Daytona that we can show? I know we have a couple of black dials. 89 is 5 for this.
Yeah, we're at 82, actually.
Can you show the PP?
No. That's what we, so that's already taken care of.
That was old, right?
All right, so why don't we talk about this Blancpain here? Since we brought up the brand.
Since we're talking Blancpain, we might as well.
Someone earlier, again responded to our question and asked to see the 40 millimeter 50 fathoms.
42.
Sorry, 42 millimeter. And unfortunately, that piece sold, so we grabbed the next best thing.
So we had the 42 mil 50 fathoms that just came out. We had it in titanium with the titanium bracelet, and all of us here at the shop were impressed.
Perfect.
It's what the 50 fathoms
should be.
Well, it's an interesting thing because you and I look at it and we go, this is what it always should be.
Yeah.
Or this, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, even more so.
But we have a customer who is a very avid diver.
Yep.
And he has a watch problem like all of us. But he will take his watches diving. He gets dive watches and he dives with them. And he actually said, 45 is a watch that you're kind of wearing around and stuff if it gets on the big side. But when you're actually underwater,
of course,
when you start getting to that 40 mil size, legibility becomes an issue, which I never thought about that.
So it is interesting to think about because, back in the day, a 50 fathoms was what?
Was 40.
Was 40, exactly.
Right, 50 fathoms was 40, subs were 40.
And, and this client obviously uses a dive computer. He's, it's funny, you'll see photos, dive computer on this wrist and, some, giant dive watch on this wrist, a deep sea challenge or something like that.
Yep.
And he's right. Technically, this is too small to be an effective dive watch, in the modern world.
Right.
And you'd be crazy to use a dive watch as if you weren't using a dive computer as well, you just have a death wish essentially. So it's
or
really.
Or you could just stay on the beach like me, and then I don't.
So my wife would always say she would be surface support for any diving that I do.
Or hang out on the boat.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what she means. So yeah, cheers, right? But. Back to this piece.
Yeah.
So if you're not using it to do, whatever, if you're to dive, to challenge or deep or whatever, this is a great wearable dive watch.
This is rare.
It is.
We
Tell the people why it's rare.
We've only seen this one other time. This is the 50th anniversary. So we just celebrated the 70th anniversary. So my amazing math skills tell me that this watch is from 20 years ago. And this was the 50th anniversary of the 50 Fathoms, and they made, thank you, good sir, they made a 40 millimeter case. And we have a lot of 40 millimeter Blancpains on the market now because we have some LEs, but we do not have one that is a lock, stock, standard 50 Fathoms in a 40 mil case.
It's so good.
This
it's so good.
Is like, again, hot take number 2 of the day. I'm full of them today. I would take this over any Rolex sub. To me, this.
You know what? Again, like we've had this conversation many times before, and like we are the same person. I agree with you. It's kind of like, and again, no shade at anybody who has, you know, just a new 41 millimeter sub or anything. But for me, this is the thinking man's sub. It's just a little bit more interesting. You get all of the functionality. It's different. You know, I hate having something that I see on anybody else's wrist. Like I want whatever I'm wearing to be a little bit different. And it's just the right size. It has so much heritage, like that sapphire bezel.
Sapphire bezel, luminous.
Yep.
Right? All of these bezel markers will illuminate along with what's on the dial. This is the X71 bracelet from Blancpain.
That's the only thing that I wish was slightly different.
Oh, blasphemous!
No,
blaspheme.
So the bracelet needs to taper a little bit. I love this watch. I would happily own this piece. I would wear it all the time. I might be talking myself into buying this watch live on camera.
My tag's in the way.
The bracelet, I wish it was a little bit less clunky.
It's not clunky though. This bracelet strikes the perfect balance of built like a tank.
It is.
But comfortable. Like you could wear this all day and you'd have no problem.
Just don't ever try and size it because it's a nightmare.
It's unfortunate to size. It is, because it comes apart in a million different pieces. It does. And the quality of the finishing and the quality of the hardware here is like 10 out of 10.
It's an absolute tank.
The case size is perfect on the wrist. It's not too thick. It's beautiful. This to me has so much character. It has so much vibe to it.
Here, switch so I can put it on my wrist and possibly make a bad decision today.
Bracelet throws me off. It's because you haven't tried one on offshore life.
Yeah, honestly, yes, I wish it was tweaked, but for real, like, it's fine the way it is.
It is fine.
It's so
it works. Within the context of that watch, it works. 100%.
It's such a gorgeous watch. What do we have this? Is this live right now?
I believe it's...
How much would this cost me?
Mid-20s?
Oof, that's it?
It's very similar. So we priced it very similarly to a lot of the...
$23,900.
$23,900. We priced it similarly to a lot of the modern LEs. We could not find a single one of these watches available on the current market. They like don't exist. There's very few like auction results or like sale history there. It is really good. It comes with a ridiculous box, and I think we have that, right? We have the tube and everything. It's like you basically store it in your your diver's tank.
Like I have a smaller wrist, and even again 40 is perfect, but like it's not too thick or anything.
Nope. And a lot of people like to complain about the Blancpain on the side, but you would never see it. You would never see it.
Oh, I wish I had something to trade right now. Dang.
It's so good.
It's too good. Love this watch.
It's
really,
so
really,
good.
really good piece.
Okay, I want to talk about this guy.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
Super cool.
Because it's another brand that we don't see. So I have in my hands, and I'm about to show you I'm going to say everything all wrong.
Would you like me to say it, Robert?
Apologize to the Francophiles.
Excommunicated from the Church of Beaver.
All right, Brendan Cunningham wins the comment competition.
For sure. I love it. I love it.
That is well done, sir.
So, in your hands,
Romain
Gauthier.
Gauthier. I always say, I say it differently.
I got that Romain Gauthier. Continue.
Gauthier.
Continue.
This is the Insight Micro Rotor Carbonium.
Carbonium,
right?
Exactly, yes.
So, what we're looking at here, first off, when you pick this up, it is disconcertingly lightweight. I mean, it's crazy. This thing must be like, I don't know, 20 grams at the most. Like there's nothing here. So we have what I believe is some kind of carbon fiber-esque case.
It is a proprietary material. It's some kind of carbon situation called Carbonium.
This looks a lot to me like the Carbotech Panerai,
it does.
where it almost looks like it has a grain to it.
Yep.
And it's not the weave of...
Look at you bringing it back to Panerai.
It's, well, you know. Yes. It's not the weave that you see of like traditional carbon fiber, like when you get a carbon fiber bike frame or something like that. So it's a different kind of material, and then I guess they mill it out of a block of that. But super cool look to it. I really like it. Again, it looks like a wood grain kind of thing.
I mean,
and he made the buckle.
See if you can show off the dial at 12 o'clock, Rob, because you get this like really interesting coloration. There's almost like a brownish, silvery, like.
Could we try and zoom?
You can try. You can try. Maybe get
if
closer.
I get closer, it yells at me.
Yeah, true.
It gets unhappy with me.
We'll see if we can.
We're gonna try and zoom it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. No, you're getting it. You're getting it there. It has this unbelievable texture and color, and it captures the light really. Yeah, actually, that is a perfect view right there, where you're seeing all of these interesting colors that from afar you're not really getting, and then all of a sudden the light hits it, and you get like this like brownish gray and all of this really interesting texture and contrast.
While we're here, look at the watchmaking going on here,
amazing,
and this is very cool because Monsieur
Gauthier, yes.
Gauthier, he's not a watchmaker. He's an engineer.
Yeah.
And so his watches, whether it's this or the C or the Logical One,
the Logical One is unbelievable.
Such an interesting approach to watchmaking, because he's not looking at this like, oh, well, when I was at Patek Philippe, we had to do it this way, and so I'm gonna, it's like he didn't come in with any of those conventions. He didn't come in with any of this stuff. He was like, okay, I'm an engineer. I'm gonna engineer this the way I want it to be.
Well, so show off the movement as well, because Gauthier's the movement construction is just like stunning.
And a lot of times when the front looks like this, I'm sorry, I keep running over you.
You're good.
When the front looks like this, the back is like just a plate.
Right.
And he doesn't show you anything. But in this case,
everything.
It's everything.
So you have this like super interesting, I can't remember what he calls it on the ratchet wheel there, where it's like all the lobes, you know what I mean? The way the design, like it's such an interesting balance of form and function. You know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily super decorated, but all of the components are constructed in such a way that when he puts them together, they have like the effect is incredible. The skeletonized bridges, like
everything with a purpose, right?
Exactly.
He's not longa. He's not finishing for the sake of finishing.
George Pronet calling us out on our pronunciation.
Oh, on our French.
Thank you.
There we go. Now I got a little bit more wiggle room to
George,
play here.
we'll call you to pronounce JLC for us on the next episode. How about that, man?
Yeah, I took one semester of French in college and didn't.
So Brendan, the Gauthier with the fusee and chain is the Logical One. This is called the Insight. The Logical One has the fusee and chain visible, at 9 o'clock on the on the dial essentially.
Beef with the Logical One.
Go ahead.
I love that watch.
Sure.
I think it is an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, it is.
You could get lost in that thing for days with a loop. I don't want to wind my watch with a button though.
True.
I really dislike that because I'm a very tactile person.
Same.
And one of the things I enjoy with my watches is picking them up and setting them and winding them and playing with them. And like the C and this have a great feel to them. Then you pick up the Logical One and it's like,
that would actually be a very funny conversation, and like the nerdiest conversation we could ever have about like the best tactile feedback when it comes to winding watches. Because like you mentioned it, I immediately had like 8 that I was like, oh my god, I love these and I hate these.
Not only would I talk about the best watches to wind, but I would talk about the watches that have the nicest when you quick set the date.
The best.
And it goes like,
it
slaps in there. I love that.
We are complete monsters here, yeah.
This is what happens when you do this all day, every day.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what direction do we want to go now? Why don't we go with, you know what? This is one that we have talked about for a while.
We could talk about this and this
at the same time.
That's what
I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Both of these were really kind of a shock to us.
Yeah.
And I've been really surprised by both of these.
So
you got to say this too.
The first one, this is the Credor Eichi II. So let me pull up details, but platinum.
Eichi would have been my guess.
Would it have, Robert? What's that?
Oh, that's really good. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is a spring drive.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a spring drive, but that's got a nice resistance there. I like that.
So this is the, so the Eichi II, so platinum case, spring drive, 48-hour power reserve, and then a gorgeous hand-painted blue porcelain dial, which there is, and you can actually get a good, kind of idea of what this is like in person from this video feed right now, hopefully. There's so much depth in that dial. It's like, it goes to this super inky blue in the center, and then it gets like almost like electric as it moves further out, like a neon-ish.
See, like the divot in the center
for the
there?
pivot.
Like as I get the reflections, it's like, it is a pool.
Yes.
It is like a pool of liquidy goodness. And I mean, a lot of the Japanese watches, Grand Seiko, and the Credors we've had so far, we haven't had a Credor like this in the store yet.
We've had a few other Credors, but they were very, very basic.
None of them got me excited. But we never had anything on this level. And when I look at this, and when I was checking this out, I started to realize why. Sorry, guys, there's so many reflections, but it's tough because this is like Vanta Black.
Yeah.
This dial is like Vanta Black. It is so reflective. Like you can see the camera in this dial. See the camera here? There's the camera. There's my finger.
Yeah, wave.
It's like, it is so reflective because it is such a perfect, smooth surface. Like, it's absurd. But this watch made me say, okay, I see what these guys are into.
Same.
I see it. I understand it now.
Because again, we've had other Credors that have been expensive for what they seem to be, and I haven't necessarily understood it.
Yeah.
This piece comes in, and it's kind of it's the whole package. Like it's when you think of Grand Seiko, you think of Japanese perfection, everything done to the absolute nth degree, just like, perfection on top of perfection on top of perfection.
It's also so simple
and
on the surface.
That's the thing, is that this piece, looking at it is so incredibly simple. Just very straightforward.
Like if you're wearing this watch at a party, most people are not going to be like, hey, nice watch.
A Daniel Wellington or something.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he has a watch on.
Exactly. But then you start to like dig in and you look at the details and like go deeper and deeper with the watch, and it is an absolute incredible, incredible piece.
Those of you in the chat, spring drive. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you care? Does it bother you? So, spring drive. There's no balance wheel in this watch. That little beating heart that we love to watch that goes like that. Oh, cool.
I'll get to that.
Excellent. Hobby Bobby. There's no balance wheel in this watch. Spring drives are a hybrid movement where you have a mechanical winding system. It is a mechanical watch, but there is a quartz crystal that does the regulation of the timekeeping instead of a traditional escapement.
Because it is far more accurate.
It's far more accurate, and you get the smoothest sweep of a second hand that I've ever seen. And you actually have, like, you can see that flywheel in the back, just like, it's so. I wonder, like, as mechanical watch nuts that we all are, does this bother you that it has this hybrid movement that is like halfway quartz but halfway mechanical?
George responded saying spring drive is interesting, and I honestly, like, I feel the exact same way. I don't necessarily have strong feelings for or against it. I appreciate it. I think it's interesting that someone, again, kind of like Romain Gauthier, who comes at the industry, the hobby, whatever you want to call it, from a totally different place and looks at it and doesn't have these preconceived ideas, notions, no history, no baggage, and is able to look at a problem, not that it was even a problem, but Credor or Grand Seiko looks at it and says, we can make something, how do we make the most accurate mechanical timepiece possible?
Yeah. Very Japanese.
Incredibly Japanese. And instead of just like iterating on, like Rolex does with, silicon, like new materials, different,
well, they
you know,
kind of did that with the high beat,
configurations.
right? Because they were doing those King Seiko high beats back in the 70s
That was in
or
the
80s
late
or something.
70s, yeah.
And like they were doing that even back then, so it feels like a really natural evolution.
But then exactly, and then this is what they arrive at, and they created. So again, like I think it's incredibly interesting. It wouldn't, I wouldn't, if Patek came out with, you know, a spring drive movement tomorrow, like I'm not gonna like run to the store to buy one. I don't know. It doesn't, it for whatever reason it doesn't move me, but I really do appreciate it, and I find it very
I think
interesting.
you have to be an accuracy guy.
Yes, which
right,
neither of us
to really
are.
be like, well, I mean, 4 out of 5 of my watches don't have a second hand,
exactly.
so it tells you my
right.
where I put accuracy on my list of things I care about.
Yeah.
But it's a tough thing because when you look at a $50,000 watch, we're asking $49,500 for that. Does that component of it kill you? Just like I have customers who will never buy a $39.40 because it doesn't have a running seconds.
Right.
And to them, that's a deal breaker.
Right.
So it's interesting. I think we're right up against it.
We have 7 minutes. We're good. We don't have time to go to hit everything.
We're not going to hit everything.
But
I think we should actually skip to this. I was going to do this, but
okay, that's fine.
I think we should talk about this because we've never seen this. And this has been out for 5 years?
So 15202 BC with the salmon dial. Has it been 5 years already?
Because this came out a while ago.
Oh man, I don't know.
We'll
have to look that up.
Oh, so hold on.
Oh yeah,
Scroll
sorry.
back up because we
so
had
Hobby Bobby asked what the watch box that can be seen in some of our recent IG posts is. It's actually just an Amazon. Like we went on Amazon.
Is that Amazon Basics?
It's not Amazon Basics. But we went on and we just tried to find something that was like a good quality. It looked to be good quality. Yeah, I think actually one of our production assistants is going to grab it right now. I think it honestly costs like maybe $50. It's pretty basic. See if we got a name on there. Yeah, flip back.
Rothwell,
right.
San Francisco.
There you go. There you go, Rothwell. That's a free bump for you. There you go. You're welcome. Adam or David, go back to the front. But it just looks really nice, and you know it fits like 8 watches or something like that.
Nice.
So let's see what else we got. Hate the Eichi, uber cool. Oh,
Have
the
the
rose
Eichi.
gold Eichi. Uber cool for its understatement, right?
Yeah.
And so it's funny. So if you're just looking at the comments right now, the one above it, you know, Hobby Bobby is saying that the fact that somebody might think it's a Daniel Wellington, like I mentioned, is just a deal killer for him. Whereas Tim Homan is saying that he loves it because it is super understated. So it really it depends on what is important to you and kind of what you are interested in owning, and you know what is sorry, what do we got here?
Let me see.
What's this?
And where's this from?
Okay, we got another watch box.
That's not bad too.
Yeah.
Is this also Amazon? Is this Amazon too?
Okay.
Ah.
But yeah, exactly. So it's really just whatever is kind of important for
that.
you, what you know, where you place
nice.
value and whatnot. Rob, jump back to that 15202 now.
Oh yeah,
Now that we got to that.
15202. Yeah, we're 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Real quick, Daniel Wellington. Do they still exist? No.
No,
15202.
Go.
Daniel Wellington was a great thing for the watch industry because they put out all of these like gold-plated dress watch-looking things, and I think anybody who liked wearing like Longas or dressy Vacherons or Pateks or something like that, it took a lot of weight off of things because it's like people didn't look at it and go, oh, hey, that's a gold watch, because all of a sudden there were like tons of gold watches out there, and it like.
So
to
you're
me,
saying that it made
that
it
was
easier for people to wear nice watches because there were
it
more
made it
cheap
more
watches?
comfortable.
All
It
right.
like you didn't have that stigma of like, oh, I'm wearing a gold watch, somebody's gonna cut my hand off. Like you didn't have to worry about that. I appreciate
Can't say I've
it.
ever
Anyway,
worried about that. But anyways,
Anyway.
15202 BC salmon dial.
BC.
First one we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's not really salmon.
It's
this
right.
color that
Yeah,
I'm
it's like-
seeing on the monitor.
It's like
I
beige
don't know.
almost.
You'll see it over there in a second on the feed, but
Yeah.
I've turned mine off.
It's beige.
It's like
It's
coppery
taupe.
or yeah, it's really interesting. The color is quite dynamic too, depending upon how you do it. It changes a lot. The white gold,
That's awesome.
the weight of the white gold on a 15202 is so beautiful, and it's still like it's so thin. I mean, look at that.
It's
that is
terrifying because that is like a scratch magnet. That finish in the white gold, like, ooh, you better be ready to not not let some little scratches bother you, but man, is that gorgeous.
Not only is it gorgeous, I remember when these were what, like 350, 400 grand, and you couldn't get one. They didn't exist. They were nowhere. We're on the web for 135.
I don't know. Let me look. You fill some time, Rob. Do what you do best, and I'll
15202. The
find
reason I like this reference is that this watch is the closest to the original 5402 that you can get.
135.
135.
Like, man.
That feels cheap for this, right?
It's
the same price as the gold 16202 we have on the web right now.
The yellow gold one.
That is fair money for arguably the nicest kind of combination, the most desirable combination most people go for. What I was saying, the dimensions of this are very similar to the original. You don't have a seconds hand. In this case, you don't even have a quick set.
You don't even get quick set.
Which I like, because I think it's true to the original. I like that. The bracelet is very thin.
I love that you're giving AP a pass for never developing that movement.
And
AP,
never, you can be lazy
and
because
never,
it makes sense within your history.
No, it's heritage. It's heritage.
However, don't need a quick set with this one. Just saying.
So, Rob, are you still, so price no object?
Price no object? I'll wear this.
I actually am too.
Thanks. You can go back to the front, David.
Yeah, we're not able to end on that tonight, actually.
I would still take this. This is one of the loveliest Royal Oaks we have ever had in the store.
It is.
I think it is absolutely stellar. I think there are a lot of these integrated bracelet watches that sell for 6 figures that I don't think are, for me, I wouldn't spend 100 grand on that watch.
So you know what's funny?
I'd spend 100 grand on that watch.
So if you want to show these two next to each other, so someone else asked to see, we're just gonna like, whatever. The feed might cut out and whatever. We'll just keep talking. 5711 1A green dial.
1A meaning steel.
Yep. Next to the 15202 BC with the salmon taupe dial. Like, I'm taking the AP.
And this is
the green.
2X?
The green. It's. I was gonna say. I think it's about 2x. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Maybe
for
a
you.
little less.
It might be a little less, but close enough. Like, here, let's see. 5711.
It doesn't like 2 watches. I'm trying to get it to focus. There we go. It likes me now.
Come on.
I didn't make the hands pretty on this one.
No, this is $239. The green dial 5711, $239,000 versus that 15202.
135.
But I'm taking that 15202 every single time. I don't know.
Interesting.
Are you going Patek?
It's really tough.
Really?
Because looking at both of these watches, I almost...
Not thinking price, it's purely aesthetics.
But are you wearing it? Are you wearing this? Are you wearing this? Because I feel like
no, Rob, I'm buying it to put on a shelf.
People are going to buy this to put it in the safe, though.
But
People
that's
are going to buy this especially. This green 5711,
of course,
which was the final act, right? This was the swan song.
Robert,
of the 5711.
You do not want to hear my watches as investments rant right now.
People are going to buy this watch.
This is not the
time
or place for it.
And I believe this one is unworn. This one is one that somebody bought, stuck in the safe, and said, on a rainy day, I'll sell this and cash out. And, you know, these were also, like, when this was $350 or whatever it was, this was absolute insanity.
So here, we're going to end on this.
Okay,
looking at these as watches, not as investments, not as stores of value, not as whatever.
Okay.
Looking at them as watches that you're gonna wear, you're gonna buy, you're gonna wear, you're gonna enjoy. What of those two pieces? What are you going with?
Oh, the AP.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd wear the AP.
Exactly. And on that bombshell, we end. Like, come on.
So, you know what, though? If you're going to do that...
we just saved you.
If you're going to do that, you have to compare them at the original retail. You can't compare them at secondary market price because it's a different...
You can't buy them at the original retail.
No, but if you're going to look at it that way...
Cut the feed. We're done.
He wants to cut the feed.
We're done.
Casual Justin over here with his sleeves rolled up.
It's 85 degrees in here. I got my jacket behind me right now,
man. It could be 100 degrees. I'm not taking this jacket.
Oh, my God. Don't make me come back with this guy. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're sorry we missed you last week. We will be back next week. Let us know if there are things you guys want to talk about. Thank you for joining. We love you all.
Thanks for participating. It was fun chatting with everybody.
Get yourself a copy of the Connoisseur's Guide to Fine Timepieces. It's amazing. You won't be disappointed.
It's on the website. There's a tab